Welcome back, guys. Had last week off, had a bit of COVID lockdown up here in Queensland, and then went away and seen some family as well. So over the Easter breaks, so I didn't do an Eels video last week, but we're back this week and going to try and talk a little bit about the last two games, more so on the game that just went, and have a bit more of a chat about this week's game against the Dragons, but. First of all, an interesting point I think that's come out after this week, and I was on a show yesterday they asked me to do a bit of a para chat for him and asked me a few questions, and I thought it was funny that for me personally, I'm more confident this year than I was last year, yet last year we started better in my eyes. This year haven't put an 80-minute performance together yet. Even against the Storm, I think in patches we weren't good. We haven't done the full 80-minute performance, where last year we already had one or two games at this stage where we did do an 80-minute performance and we put a couple of teams through the cleaners. But it's an awkward one because I'm actually more confident about this year and timing of the run, and players seem to have the right mindset when it counts, and that's the exciting thing for, I think, us Para fans, is that we're not playing our best footy at the moment, yet we're sitting second on the ladder, 2 out of 4 from 4, and one of only two teams that are undefeated at the moment. And I think when you can get wins when you're not playing your best, it says a lot about a footy team. And people always used to say it about the Storm and the Roosters, that these clubs can get wins when they're not playing great. I think we're doing that at the moment and we're not getting much credit for it. So I think we're flying a bit under the radar, which I'm a big fan of. I think our club, that suits us. We don't like to have all the talk around us, so I'm more than happy to have us under the radar, which I think is brilliant. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing, hopefully this week, an 80-minute performance. I will go into that a bit more in a few minutes' time. But one person I want to give a really big pat on the back for and just say what a signing it's been is Isaiah Papali'i. And a lot of the videos I've done so far this year, I've talked about him, and people know already I'm a massive fan of this bloke, and I love the throw. He's a character, and I love it, and just how professional he is. And the interviews I've heard BA talk about and the other players that just say how much of a professional this guy is in and around the club, and it speaks volumes of why he's at where he is at the moment. He's putting massive pressure on the starting back rowers in Maddo and Lane. Obviously, Maddo, with his injuries, he's been able to come in and cover him, and he's done a massive job doing that. But for mine, he's got another couple of weeks, and say if Lane doesn't get to that next level, I can really see him pushing and becoming a starting partner for Maddo, or if Maddo gets injured, easily stepping in and making it look like we haven't missed too much with Maddo out, which he's been able to do a great job of the last couple of weeks. But for mine, he's not on massive money either, so it's one of those good bang for buck signings. People will talk about Fafita, Tino at Titans, but they're on a lot more money, where this guy's come to us pretty much on the cheap, and we're getting definite value for money on this guy. And I think we've got him for 2 years at the moment. I'd be almost sitting down with him already, talking about an extension to get him out to 3-4 years and really getting him a cult following at the club, which I think he can become, similar to like your Phillies and things like that. A player that the other person I want to give credit to, I think Tom Opacek deserves it. I think he's started really well, and without being fantastic, he's sort of done just a rock solid job, and he got rewarded with a couple of tries on the weekend, which I thought was great to see and a good reward. I thought with the Michael Jennings issue, it's going to be massive for the club, especially on the defensive side of things. But Opacek's been able to do a massive job there, and he's been able to help Sivo. We know Sivo's got his issues in defence, but they've been able to stick pretty solid there between those two, and it's a new combination. It's a pretty worrying combination, if you're being brutally honest. If you look at our side, that's probably the weakest side to go at, but they've done a great job, and I've really got to say Opacek's been doing a brilliant job, and I'm really happy with where he's come at as a player. I was pretty excited by the signing of him. I know I was probably the only that thought he was a guarantee on that centre position from the start, and it's good to see he's starting to get a bit of rewards from that form that he's showing. Look, there's always a negative when there's so many positives. It can't be so great already. And for mine, I touched on this the other week, and I still just think Dill Brown for mine, 100% a really good young player. I'm not going to put much pressure on him because he is young. We've got to allow him time to do it. And he's a brilliant defender. I just think in attack, and again, he showed it on the weekend, he's very, what's the word for it? He's very hesitant, and he doesn't seem like he has the confidence in his own ability. Now, I say it to many people. I say this kid, and I've watched him for a few years now, I go, he's got the ability, his step and running game is up there as good as people like Pongers and things like that. Might not be as good, but it's up there. And his issue is he doesn't seem, now he's in first grade, to have the confidence to back himself and be like, you know what, I'm a first grade player and I'm here because of these reasons and I'm going to back myself. He's sort of a bit hesitant with that. And there was a few times on the weekend where he had a half a gap and I thought, pin the years back, he's through, and he didn't. He just sort of jogged a little bit, and just for mine, lacking that confidence in that confidence area, which I really want to see him get past and develop that running game a bit more, because as I said, I've watched him over the years and no doubt a lot of the you Para fans have, and he's right up there when it comes to that. So keep it up, Dill Brown, and I really want to see your running game come to fruition here. This week, so we've got the Dragons, and it's a good test for us against a formed team. It's fair to say probably the Tigers weren't in much form, so it was hard to get a read on that game. And reverse, say, like the Broncos obviously haven't been in form, and Storm obviously was the team that was sort of in some form there. But it's good to verse a side that's up on confidence and playing some pretty good footy, because the Dragons are, albeit against some weaker opposition. But it's a really good test to see where we're at. We need to play that full 80, and I spoke about it earlier. We need to bring out this 80-minute performance now, I feel. We need to be clinical, and it might not mean we beat the Dragons by 30 or 40, but we need to beat them by a consistent amount, say a 10, 15, in that sort of bracket scoreline, and just be at it the whole game, because no doubt they've got some attacking weapons like Lomax, who can probably actually beat us and show if any weaknesses in our side at the moment, and rack up a bit of a scoreline. So really need to make sure we focus on, for mine, back to that hard running up the middle. Our middle is our strongest point, guys. And look, it might get boring sometimes just sending forward after forward up, but that's our strength. We've got probably the best forward pack in the comp in my eyes. And with Maddo back as well, we've just got to keep doing what we're strongest at. And we can see now Reid Mahoney's got his running game back, which is brilliant to see. And he's picking his timing well to go. So if we can get that happening all together, then I've got no doubt in the world that we'll do well against the Dragons. We should get the win up. But look, boring wins footy games, guys. It's the way that the footy, that NRL and rugby league is played best, when it's your hard forwards, and after that you go around and get your outside backs involved. And we've seen Fergo, Sevo are getting back to their better form, which is great to see. But that's it for me, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this week's video. Appreciate the feedback so far. I've had a lot of nice comments, so if you want, comment down below what you think of the club at the moment, and any issues that you see that haven't been brought up, or any credit you want to give to a certain player or just the club overall. So keep giving us the follow. Really appreciate it. And have a good weekend. Go the Mighty Eels.